We're back at it.
We are back at it. Another Sunday. Well, today we're splitting though. The Ides of March and St. Patrick's Day.
Yes. We did a lot. I know our group, we have 3 of the whole blind tasting. We specifically went blind tasting Pinot Noir. But I did throw in the Gamay. This was something that one of our group members decided would be a good training exercise. We had a little bit of everything.
We did. We were looking at Pinots primarily. Those are just narrow corridors where these Pinots are made. But we looked at Oregon, Burgundy, Central Otago in New Zealand.
We did Marlborough. We did with Burgundy. We did what?
Cooking the wheat, cooking the bone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then yours was from Willamette, right?
Yeah. So I had one from Dundee Hills.
Ironically, I don't think we had anything from Sonoma or
we did. I made
Sonoma
that
Hills,
call a couple times.
Yeah, we did.
They do make good Pinot there too. And affordable.
Yeah.
Very approachable in price.
But I mean, everything was like austere and like it was just almost very rustic. For me, I was struggling a lot with the acidity. Like I had a hard time like picking out like the brightness of it. But after a couple of the tastings, I was getting in the swing there.
Yeah. Well, I love black cherry.
Yeah.
I love cherry cola. So all of that's great. And then the surprise was Luis brought at 7.
Oh man, yeah.
And that thing had been aged for 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah. And you can kind of
Sauvignon Le Bon from Louis Jardot.
Yeah, and you kind of pick up those nuances a little bit. Is that this one right here?
Huh?
Was that this? That's the one right here. Yeah, fantastic. Really good representation. Of course, the tertiary comes out a little bit more. Probably the primary settles down a little bit. But actually, was that the 20?
No, that wasn't the 25.
Yeah.
You grabbed the other one. This was 2020.
Okay.
But it was the Sauvignon one because he blind tasted that one and was like spot on.
Fantastic. So, I got a trick question for you.
Sure, maybe.
What is your favorite Irish dish wine pairing? Because you don't think of it. People go on Irish stouts and go into whiskeys, which have been famous for all the way back to 1,900, year 900 for Ireland.
Correct. I mean, me personally, I would probably do. This is just my own bias. I'd probably do either a hot still whiskey with shepherd's pie, or I would do a Smithers with shepherd's pie.
Okay, shepherd's pie's great. Love it.
It's like the mashed potatoes. Yeah. It's creamy, it's earthy, it's gamey. I like the.
Yeah, I like the creaminess of mashed potatoes. With, I don't know, I'd maybe do Tempranillo maybe would be good with that. If I'm gonna go wines around the world. What about? I got a good one for you.
Sure.
Corned beef and cabbage. Yeah, something super herbaceous and with strong notes. What would you pair with it?
You know what? We talked a lot about it today. Centro Otago and Marlborough. We were talking about this like almost like red cabbage like character.
Yeah.
And I would do a nice Pinot from those regions to pair with it because then you have almost like the cooked cabbage, you have the red cabbage, you have the corned beef, the potatoes, the carrots. It's just very hearty meal.
Yeah, I might even throw a Cab Franc that's really herbaceous and has some of that in with that.
Yes.
With that. But those are great pairings. And not everybody's going to do Guinness tonight.
No, not at all.
Not at all. But Guinness is a great call.
Yeah. So, with corned beef cabbage, you just did wine. We talked a little bit about spirits, but do you have a spirit of preference?
I do not. No, I'm going to go wine almost all the time with food. To me, mixed drinks and food don't pair near as well. To me, you got that great pairing with food and wine. And I'm going to throw one out that's going to be totally common, but Irish fish and chips.
Oh yeah, okay.
Where are you gonna go with that? Albarino.
For wine,
Yeah, what wine are you gonna go with a good fish and chip?
you know, I want something yeasty. I'll probably do like Surly, like Muscador.
Okay.
So you know, like I would love. Gosh, what else has got that whole ruggedness or loosiness? Like champagne would be an excellent style.
Yeah.
Like that might be a little too easy. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna throw in one more thing.
Sure.
Oh, rosé.
I would do
How
rosé.
about if I throw in this?
Yeah.
A super creamy tartar sauce dip. It had the tip oil and it had the good creaminess of the dip. Did you change anything of that?
No, no.
Yeah, still keep the same?
Yeah.
Well, I'll do like an Albarino. Maybe even a really spicy Sauvignon Blanc might also wash that fish and chips
Okay.
down.
So one of the things that I love, you got me thinking about it. Not that it's actually related to St. Patty's Day. Not that it's actually related to St. Patty's Day, but I loved. So being born in San Diego, we used to go to Fisherman's Wharf all the time, and we would get fish sandwich with this green tartar sauce. I'm not kidding. It was just bright green. And every time I think about that, I would do that, like a really nice tartar sauce fish sandwich, deep fried cod, and then I would do something with say, like a nice Sancerre would be great, an Albarino would be awesome. Something in that category.
Well, John, you just flipped my stomach.
No.
I love cod and tartar sauce.
Yeah?
I love it. And I love different tartar sauces
Nice.
that have the different flavors. And
Yeah.
I just like, oh my God. That's what I'm going to have on St. Patty's Day.
I mean, it's a little different, right? It's
Yeah.
not your traditional meat and potatoes.
Right.
But the thing is, like, they're also fishermen, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they get fish, and, like, cod is a big thing out there. Like even in the north of Spain, we drink, or we eat bacalao pio pio, which is cod that's cooked in its own oils and fats, and then rendered so it has its own sauce. And something like a chocolina, which is bright acidity, like really tart, that's classic too for me. Like, I know it's not Irish, but it's close to Gaelic.
You
culture.
can make pretty much anything Irish, I think. Yeah.
That's something that I would enjoy.
Yeah. I love garlic mashed potatoes. I can have that with any meal. And I watched probably about 20 years ago, I watched Emerald
Oh yeah.
do his Irish deal. And he did kale,
Yeah.
garlic mashed potatoes as part of his deal on a big. I remember that when I first started to really delve into wine and food. I used to watch Food Channel,
Oh yeah.
right?
Me too.
Back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
That was my go-to.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
No, I think mashed potatoes can go so well. I got the family on some wild adventures. There'd be a moment where I'd take a good half pound of good Irish butter,
Okay.
just mash, and then what I would do is I'd start with the butter, and I would incorporate the potato.
Okay.
Do it the opposite.
Love it.
Right? Not the potato. The butter was the all-star. And you just add potato until it had this rich, velvety, silky texture to it.
Oh,
but,
nice. Yeah.
but you still really taste the butter.
Okay, so in that case, I would go with the Pinot with you. A silky
Yeah?
Pinot with that.
Yeah?
I like the silkiness. Sometimes it's not about flavor, it's about texture.
Yes.
Right? And you get that either contrast or something similar. Which is excellent.
Okay, let's dive into Irish booze. Okay,
Cheers.
little trick here. I mentioned Smithwick's earlier because for me, it's not necessarily about having a heavy, overly toasty malty beer. I want something a little lighter. Got some good weight to it.
Yeah.
It's an amber and something that's like well balanced.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Pilsner guy, but because of the secular holiday nature, I love Arthur Guinness and what he did. What Arthur Guinness did to beer making in Ireland, I think rivals the whiskey part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a Guinness out of respect for the Irish flag and really all things Irish, because that's what we're celebrating on the 17th, all things Irish.
And it's fun too because like part of me feels like we celebrate it more than the Irish do.
Yeah.
And it's just something that it's in our culture. It's in our heritage and it resonates very
Yeah. Do you think there's any cities in Ireland that turn their rivers green?
I feel like
Chicago does. I saw that. Yeah, they do the Green River every year.
Chicago does.
Yes, and that's a big thing. But I do think there's more Irish in Boston.
There is.
That's
There
a
definitely
huge.
is.
Yeah, and then of course the Notre Dame Fighting.
I would say.
South Bend, Indiana. Yep, that's where they're at. Well, as far as wine, people don't think of Ireland as being wine, but today, currently, there are greenhouses, hybrids, that they're trying to do. But what most people don't realize, wine culture was, in a sense, really started by some of the Irish in 1691. There was the Treaty of Limerick.
Okay.
And in the Treaty of Limerick, the English Protestants were fighting the Irish Catholics. They came to a treaty, and they allowed any aristocrat or the rich people of Ireland to come to France or Spain and assume their same level of status. And so what these guys were doing, they weren't winemakers per se, but they knew all the trade routes. So it's called the Flight of the Wild Geese. And it's a huge impact on the wine industry.
Okay.
Because a lot of those guys came in and then bought wineries in France.
Yeah.
And they're still there today. Even Australia and America have Irish roots that go back to those families. In Napa, it's the Kincannon family.
Yes.
The Kincannon family was part of that migration to France. And then eventually ended up here as winemakers. Recently, it's like the 1800s. So we don't think of Ireland as really being influential in wine, but yes, they were because they had the trade routes. And they were also great businessmen.
Yeah.
They had a business savvy. And they kind of cornered the market a little bit right there in the early 1700s.
In terms of innovation, I mean, the Irish have been working on a lot of different commodities. You know, we know them for whiskey, but at the same time, like we have wine. We also they're also big into gin right now.
Okay.
You have Glenglassaugh, that's a big producer. I've had a number of gin brands out there in actually Northern Ireland as well as Ireland in Dublin. And the thing about it is it's not a heavy juniper. It's very expressive in its and so we're starting to see a lot of that in the States. What's alcohol content? Easily like same 40 to 45% in alcohol. So it would be like 98 ABV. But at the same time, it's about the juniper prolific character, right? You know, we have a lot of different brands that are starting to veer out of gin, the traditional London dry juniper heavy style, and going for different types of citrus, different types of herbaceous character, and I think that's a great quality that we're starting to see a lot of. You know, when I first encountered it, it was in the north of Spain in Bilbao, and we started seeing a lot of Irish gin. So it's something that we're going to start seeing a lot more of because distillation is at the heart, right? They have a tradition of both brewing and distilling. It's something that we're going to see a lot more creativity out of Ireland.
real quick, what's your favorite mixology of a Irish gin or vodka? If you were going to make something for your grandma tonight,
Right now,
mix with that.
one of my favorites is a single malt Irish whiskey called Limavady. I personally, I enjoy it. And, for my folks or my family, I probably would do almost like a whiskey and soda.
Okay.
Take nice lemon, twist, ram it, a little bit of soda, Limavady. And the reason
Of ice or no ice?
not too much ice. Yeah. The reason why is because Limavady on its own, I drink it new, and it's such a well balanced whiskey. So like adding a little bit of citrus, a little bit of soda, it just lightens it up. It doesn't make it so heavy. If I were going to go a little heavier, I'd probably take Limavady and make it a Rob Roy. So almost like what is it? The Manhattan in this sense.
Okay.
So you take Limavady, a little dash of bitters, and some vermouth. Some sweet vermouth is what I would prefer. Make it nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a big cocktail guy.
Yeah.
But if you put an orange and a cherry on anything, I'll drink it.
All right.
Yeah, those Manhattans or old fashions sometimes have those in the Midwest. So, well, excellent. Well, today we did some Pinots. It was fantastic. One of my favorites. Pinot Noir means black pine in French. Some of the oldest and most expensive wines in the world are Pinots. People really realize that. But there are some very expensive Pinots in the world, probably because you've got these very limited areas around the 45th parallel in the north and south where these things really thrive in. Smaller, thinner grade.
We'll describe that too, because when it comes to Pinot Noir, latitude and its distance from the equator are very important. How would you describe it?
Well, I would describe it as if I had 3 children. I have one that's an athlete and just gets beat up all the time and just walks through it. And then I have one child who's kind of a medium one, but then my youngest child, very delicate, very sensitive on the playground to people bullying them. And so I would kind of describe it that way. But with that delicacy comes some other things that are very, very positive traits in these wines. And we did a DMA today, so we were looking at some other thin stuff, thin skinned grapes, get more delicate.
The Gamay for me, and that was the one that I contributed to the group, but it's saying it was juicy, it's herbaceous, it was full of tea notes and a little bit more alcohol and body. That it wasn't as rustic. And right away, I was I understand the difference. The reason why I never wanted this to taste Gamay in contrast to Burgundy, along with Lolipine wines. Even the colors is dark, more concentration.
Yes, for sure.
You can't see through it as well. It's a little warmer, and so even the watery meniscus, not so light. You're looking at a lot more concentration on the. So on the palate, it was just almost plummy and rich and juicy.
Well, I said the wrong word. I said jammy. And Brandon said, "No, jammy's that's reserved."
We leave it since infidel.
Yeah, we'll leave that word. But jammier than the other lighter ways. I don't want to do it.
Totally.
I used the wrong scripter terminology.
But with Pinot Noir, it is almost like a razor blade, right? It's very acidity, it's just razor edge, it's a little rustic, it's very austere, very herbaceous.
Yeah.
But the thing about Pinot, it's there's so many different facets to that time. There's so many ways that Pinot Noir can express itself.
Earthy, mushroom. But we also got, I don't want to turn anybody off, but I think we got a little dirty diaper on one. Wet forest floor. Maybe had a little bit of, maybe a bear walk through. There's a bear shit in the woods.
Sometimes.
Would have been there. That would have been there.
I think we taste.
Yes.
So, no, I think we had an awesome tasting.
Tasting is great because initially we didn't know. Normally we're 6 to 12 people.
Yeah.
We thought maybe just a threesome today, and then here they come in. They're bringing in.
Everybody trickled in, and it turned out to be an awesome tasting.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Instagram, on Blog with the Dog and Sip Studies. It's something that we're going to share in different facets, so that way you can follow different content.
Also, we're building content in a couple different areas. It's not all about wine education. It's also really about just a celebration of culture, history, food and wine pairings. But we have an amazing, I'm going to just do a shout out now. These Psalms here are really, really good and fun to be with. I look forward to this Saturday class. It's hard to get used to, right? You got things going on with stuff, and but I'll never miss a Pinot Sip Studies class on Sundays. I might skip a fortified or a sparkling, but I will not skip. I was really looking forward to this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had a real gem that you brought up from Milan, and the thing is too, I think there's a industry-wide appreciation and understanding that Pinot can be incredibly diverse. It's very complicated. Blind tasting Pinot is not very straightforward. You're going to have 20, 30 different profiles that we have to guess from. And so to understand its characteristics, charisma, like the acidity, the balance, the alcohol, all of that makes a really complicated tasting. And the more we get exposed to it and tasting great, the better we get every time. It doesn't matter if we're bad or we're flat in our tasting, we screw up, or if we're good and we nail it.
We could have just gone New World, and eliminated the French stuff, but we didn't even get to Yarra Valley, Mornington Peninsula. We did get to Stellenbosch in South Africa, who also make good
Santa Barbara, Santa Barbara, Santa Lucia Islands.
Yes. So this could be further examined by really marrying regions of the world.
Yes.
Or cold, warm, and look at that. So we kind of went through a general one, but we need more study in this area.
And the thing too is, a lot of the times that we taste with our group, we're making sure that we're tasting to help them get certified, whether it's Quartermaster certification, WSET certification, Society of Wine Educators certification, Master of Wine, Master of Sommeliers, all of the guilds. We have a really particular and dynamic group, and we have to cater to a little bit of everything. So if our tastings don't always make sense, they aren't to the book, it's because we're always making sure that our students are first and foremost. Whatever the next exam needs to be passed within our group, we make sure we go through it.
And I learned from everybody in the group. And we have people at various levels. I always wonder, is blind tasting objective or subjective?
Well, in my perspective, it's very subjective. Because for us, it starts with our memories and our palate and everything that we know personally. Now,
childhood experiences of tasting. If you've never had ginger, you ain't gonna be able to describe ginger.
Or you're going to be like, there's some weird herbaceousness that I don't know how to describe. It's very potent. But it's when that you build those memories. That's when you're like, oh, not only do I know ginseng, I know ginseng and dry prunes. But why do I know ginseng and dried peach? Well, I tasted thyme. Everybody's calling it basil, and I call it those things. So it's almost like a calibration. With ginger, I know the spiciness. I know a lot of the grapes that have ginger and have also maybe a botrytized like flavor, or a honeysuckle, or a rose, a rose and lychee like flavor.
Yeah.
So depends on how we build our palate, how we build those flavors.
Totally agree. But I would say, objectively, I've learned over the last few years, structure of the wine is a little bit different. I think I can differentiate body, sweetness, acidity. Now, do I know where to go with those, tannins and alcohol content? But I think over time, you can get those five pretty close with study and being around good. You got to have good people to taste with.
We do a lot of theory, and within the theory too, everybody needs to bring to the table a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
Right? We're not just shooting from the hip. Everybody's reading different books, different websites, and that, in theory, in studying, creates a lot of information. So, overall, when we say, like, how do you become a better wine taster? Always, number one, study. Like, learn and read, and make sure that your like theory, your book study is up there, so that way everything else follows suit.
Yeah. Well, in all education, there are depths of knowledge. The DOK1 is just straight memorization.
Okay.
You better memorize your regions, your grape varietals, before we go on to DOK2, which is going to be more, well, how do they differentiate those in each winemaker's things? All the way up to DOK4, where you're using your senses, and you're talking about really putting together a brochure to describe all those, not just memorize it. And so that DOK1's really, really important. But there's nothing like being in a good class with 8 good students, and we collaborate and learn from each other. You can't replace that at home, although we do have to memorize a bunch of stuff before we get here.
Yeah.
But you can, I just think having good students and good teachers. John, Civ Studies, is amazing. I'm going to do a shout out right now. And this is our place. And a shout out also. I don't know if you can get this, but Corey's is our place.
Yes, Corey's.
Corey's
Wine and
States and in Vegas. And he does a great job, but he allows us to come in and do our. We make a mess sometimes. We leave some cups and.
But the thing is, like, it's for us democratized safe haven. We come in, doesn't matter what restaurant we're at, doesn't matter what retail shop we're at. We come in, we taste, and we learn. And this is our safe haven. To be able to learn objectively, doesn't matter what the brand, the wine, the supplier, and dive deeper into why wine is the way that it is. You know, the thing is, whether it's Greg and myself, our students, we're all learning and we're all teaching. And for me, learning, engaging, and teaching are the 3 pillars that are most important for all of it. You know, you'll see it on Civ Studies. Like, you need to learn. Once you've learned, you need to engage. You need to learn why the things are the way that they are. And then share it with your community. You need to teach. Because if you feel insecure, maybe it's because you're worried about the knowledge, the validity of the knowledge, and you're maybe fact checking, or there's too much information. I always describe our industry as a giant rabbit hole. And the more that you learn, the bigger the rabbit hole gets. It's too much. Simply, there's just way too much information to learn. Wine, beer, spirits, coffee, tea, kombucha, water, juice, milk. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn. So, to be a master of anything, fine. That's based off of certifications, but I will always encourage you to keep studying, keep learning.
Yeah, be a lifelong learner on all this stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I come here, I'm going to I gotta confess, when I come here at 11:45 on Sundays, I tell my family and my dogs, "Hey, I'm going to church. I'll be back in a couple hours."
No,
This
St.
is
Patrick's
true.
Day is okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, I think in general, like we are on our own pilgrimage. You know, we're always on the route to learning, to growing, to
Yes.
getting better.
Absolutely. And Corey's is our Mecca.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a fantastic week. I can't wait till next week when we do our tabs
Yes.
from around the world. And really, probably the most grown grape worldwide.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to get stuff here probably from California, obviously,
Yeah.
Australia,
Bordeaux,
Africa.
a little bit of Chile.
Yeah.
South Africa, that's right.
Bordeaux.
Australia.
Yes.
We're gonna hit
Chile.
Yeah.
Chile, we're in South Africa a little bit, yeah.
We're gonna hit
I mean, South America.
all of the regions that are predominant for Cabernet Sauvignon. And maybe I'll throw in a Cab Franc just to throw people off.
Oh yeah, that's the papa.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the dad, and the mom, of course, was the Sauvignon Blanc.
Oh yes.
But
You know what? That's a good idea. Maybe we'll throw both in just at the end.
Actually, I'm doing a Sauvignon Blanc as our
palate
opener. Yeah, as our opener.
Like that. So we got a lot of things coming your way. A lot more podcasting. Greg's been kicking my butt. No, he's been awesome. So check out Wine Blog with the Dog. Definitely, honestly, you put a great approach to history that I wish I had the attention. I mean, you tie in so many different facets, and for me, I'm playing around with the future. I'm playing around with AI. So we're gonna dive into a lot of different topics.
Yes. I wish we could go back to 40,000 years BC. There was some winemaking going on back there, or wine discovery,
Okay.
not winemaking. Unfortunately, we don't have any records for that.
Yeah.
But this has been going on for a long time, and I wish we could study history on a deeper level, where we had more artifacts and stuff. And actually, as technology improves, they might be able to look at pottery made in 9,000 BC and break stuff down to what is it, tannins and tartaric acid, actually, that would be in the residue. And then honey and meat and things they were making. Yeah, tree resin. Yeah. Well, cheers from wineblogwiththedog.com.
Yep.
And
Sipstudies.com. Lunch. Enjoy.
yes.